Mrs. Hartwell, you understand you're testifying under oath about your late husband's business practices?
Yes, Congressman. I'm here to tell the truth about Richard Hartwell Industries and the crimes my husband committed.
These are serious allegations. Environmental fraud, bribery, conspiracy. Are you prepared to provide evidence?
I have documents, financial records, and witness testimony. My husband poisoned 3 communities in Ohio, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. He bribed officials to cover it up.
How long were you aware of these activities?
I only discovered the truth after Richard's death. But Vincent Morrison, his business partner, has been blackmailing my family with this information for months.
Vincent Morrison, the same man arrested for your husband's murder?
Yes. Vincent killed Richard when my husband developed a conscience and wanted to confess. Vincent couldn't let that happen.
Mrs. Hartwell, why come forward now? Why not take this information to your grave?
Because I'm a mother. And I realized that protecting my children's inheritance meant destroying their souls. I won't let them live with blood money.
Your son Alexander continued these illegal operations after your husband's death. Are you prepared to testify against your own child?
Alex made his choices. Yes, he continued the environmental crimes for 6 months after Richard died. But he's also prepared to face the consequences.
The Hartwell Foundation was built on profits from these crimes. What do you propose to do about that?
We're liquidating all assets. Every penny of dirty money will go to the communities Richard poisoned. We'll spend our lives making this right.
Mrs. Hartwell, do you understand you may face criminal charges yourself?
If ignorance is a crime, then yes. But I'd rather face prison with a clear conscience than live free with a guilty one.
Mr. Alexander Hartwell, you stand accused of continuing criminal conspiracy, environmental terrorism, and accessory to murder. How do you plead?
Your Honor, I plead guilty to all charges.
Mr. Hartwell, do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're facing up to 30 years in federal prison?
Yes, Your Honor. I understand completely.
Your Honor, the defendant continued poisoning communities for 6 months after his father's death. 17 children developed cancer because of his actions.
Your Honor, may I address the court?
You may speak, Mr. Hartwell.
I thought I was protecting my family's legacy. Instead, I became a monster. I poisoned children to protect money. There's no excuse for that.
Your Honor, my client is cooperating fully with authorities. He's providing evidence against other conspirators.
I want those families to know. I will spend every day in prison thinking about what I did to their children. And when I get out, I'll spend my life making amends.
Mr. Hartwell, your cooperation and remorse are noted. However, the severity of your crimes cannot be overlooked. Sentencing will be in 2 weeks.
Alex, I'm proud of you for telling the truth.
Mom, I'm finally the son Dad should have raised. Not the one he actually did.
I'm here with investigative journalist Sophia Hartwell, who's exposed the environmental crimes of her own family's corporation. Sophia, this must be incredibly difficult.
Jennifer, I've spent my career exposing corporate corruption. I never imagined I was living in the home of the biggest criminal of all.
Your investigation revealed that Hartwell Industries dumped toxic chemicals in 3 communities. Tell us about the cover-up.
My father bribed EPA officials, local politicians, even judges. When people got sick, he hired fake scientists to claim the chemicals were harmless.
The cancer rates in these communities are astronomical. Children as young as 5 are dying. How does that make you feel?
It makes me sick, Jennifer. I grew up in luxury while children were dying. Because of my family's greed. That blood money paid for my education. My car, my apartment.
Your brother Alexander continued these crimes after your father's death. Did you know?
I suspected something, but Alex hid it well. When I found out, I immediately contacted the FBI. Family loyalty doesn't excuse poisoning children.
The Hartwell fortune is estimated at $800 million. What happens to that money?
Every penny goes to the victims. Medical bills, environmental cleanup. Compensation for the families who lost children. We're keeping nothing.
Sophia, you could have stayed silent and remained wealthy. Why expose your own family?
Because my father taught me that truth matters more than comfort. He lived a lie, but he raised me to seek justice. I'm honoring the father he should have been. Not the criminal he became.
What's next for the Hartwell family?
We face the consequences of our choices. Alex will likely go to prison. Mom and I might face charges too. But we'll face them with clear consciences.
Well, well. Elizabeth Hartwell comes to visit the man who killed her husband. This should be interesting.
I came to look you in the eye and tell you that you failed, Vincent. You killed Richard. But you couldn't kill the truth.
The truth? The truth is your husband was weak. He built an empire with me. Then lost his nerve when people started asking questions.
Richard developed a conscience. You never had one to begin with.
Conscience doesn't pay the bills, Elizabeth. Richard understood that for 20 years. Then suddenly he wanted to play hero.
He wanted to confess because he saw what those chemicals did to children. You killed him to protect money.
I killed him to protect everything we built together. And now you've destroyed it all anyway. Congratulations, Elizabeth. You've made us all poor.
Vincent, you're facing life in prison for murder. I'd say you made yourself poor.
At least I'm not a hypocrite. You lived on blood money for 25 years. Don't pretend you're innocent.
You're right. I was ignorant, not innocent. But I'm fixing that now. Every family you and Richard hurt will be compensated.
Money won't bring back dead children, Elizabeth.
No, it won't. But justice might give their families some peace. You'll rot in prison. And Richard's victims will know their suffering wasn't ignored.
You think you're some kind of hero now? You're just a guilty widow trying to buy redemption.
I'm not trying to buy anything, Vincent. I'm trying to earn forgiveness by telling the truth. Something you and Richard never understood.
After legal fees and government seizures, we have approximately $340 million in clean assets to distribute to victims.
How do we determine who gets what? Some families lost children. Others just got sick.
We create a victim compensation fund. Medical expenses, lost wages, pain and suffering. We hire independent administrators to ensure fairness.
What about ongoing medical care? Some of those children will need treatment for years.
We can establish trust funds for long-term medical expenses. The money will be managed by a board of community representatives.
Mom, Alex's sentencing is tomorrow. Are you prepared for what might happen?
Your brother made his choices, Marcus. If he goes to prison for 20 years, that's the consequence of his actions.
The FBI says they might charge us as accessories. We benefited from Dad's crimes even if we didn't know about them.
Then we'll face those charges with dignity. We chose truth over comfort. Justice over family loyalty.
I keep thinking about Dad. If he had just been honest from the beginning, none of this would have happened.
Your father was a good man who made terrible choices. We can honor his memory by making better ones.
Elizabeth, you understand that after compensation and legal fees, your family will have virtually nothing left.
Thomas, we never really had anything to begin with. Just blood money and guilty consciences. Now we'll have peace and integrity.
I've been thinking about the families in those communities. Their children are dead because of our comfort. How do we live with that?
We live with it by making sure it never happens again. We spend our lives fighting the kind of corruption Dad represented.
Tomorrow, the judge will sentence Alex. We might all face prison time. But tonight, for the first time in months, I can sleep without nightmares.
Mom, do you regret exposing Dad's crimes? We could have stayed quiet and kept the money.
Sophia, I regret marrying a man who could poison children for profit. But I don't regret choosing your souls over your inheritances.
Whatever happens tomorrow, we're facing it as a family. United by truth. Not divided by secrets.
The judge will sentence us tomorrow. We could face decades in prison. But at least we chose truth over money. Whatever happens, we face it together.
The Hartwell family case presents a unique situation. Mr. Alex Hartwell, you've pleaded guilty to continuing environmental crimes that resulted in community poisoning. Mrs. Elizabeth Hartwell, you've cooperated fully with federal investigators despite personal risk. Ms. Sophia Hartwell and Mr. Marcus Hartwell, you've demonstrated courage in exposing family corruption.
Your Honor, I accept full responsibility for my actions. I continued my father's crimes thinking I was protecting my family, but I was only perpetuating harm to innocent communities.
Judge Wells, my children deserve consequences for their choices. But they also deserve the chance to make amends. They've chosen truth over comfort.
Mr. Alex Hartwell, for continuing environmental crimes, I sentence you to 3 years in federal prison, with eligibility for early release after 18 months based on your cooperation and the family's commitment to victim restitution.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll use this time to understand the harm I've caused and prepare to spend the rest of my life making amends.
Mrs. Hartwell, Miss Sophia Hartwell and Mr. Marcus Hartwell, given your cooperation, I'm sentencing you to 2 years probation and 2,000 hours of community service, specifically helping environmental victims.
We accept these terms gratefully. Your Honor. We want to help the communities our family harmed.
Justice isn't just about punishment, it's about repair. We're committed to both.
My name is Elizabeth Hartwell. And my family's business poisoned your water, your air, and your children's futures. We're here not to ask forgiveness. We haven't earned that, but to begin making things right.
Mrs. Hartwell, my daughter has cancer because of your husband's factory. What can you possibly do to fix that?
Nothing can undo the harm we've caused, Maria. But we've liquidated all Hartwell assets, $847 million. And it's going directly to medical care, environmental cleanup, and your families. Every penny.
You could have hidden that money offshore. Why didn't you?
Because my mother taught us that integrity isn't about protecting yourself. It's about protecting others from the harm you've caused.
We're also working to change environmental protection laws so no other family experiences what you've endured. Your pain will prevent other families' pain.
My son asks why he can't drink the water from our tap. What do I tell him?
You tell him that some people made very bad choices. But other people are working every day to fix those choices. And you tell him that he deserves clean water, clean air, and adults who protect his future instead of stealing it.
Elizabeth, Vincent Morrison received life in prison for your husband's murder. Judge Wells' corruption network has been completely dismantled. Your cooperation saved dozens of communities.
Diana, I lost a 30-room mansion and gained a clear conscience. That seems like a fair trade.
Do you ever regret giving up the wealth? You could have hidden money, protected your lifestyle.
I spent 24 years married to Richard thinking wealth meant security. But money built on others' suffering isn't security. It's a prison. I'm freer now than I ever was in that mansion.
Your children seem to have inherited your strength.
They inherited something more valuable than Richard's money. They inherited the choice to be better than their parents. That's the only inheritance that matters.
Elizabeth, the community center wants to name their new environmental justice program after you.
Name it after the victims, Thomas. They're the ones who suffered while we lived in luxury. They deserve the recognition, not us.
Mom, I've been reading every environmental impact report from Dad's factories. Do you know how many children developed asthma because of our greed?
I'm learning. Sophia's documentary is making sure the world knows too.
I spent 10 years thinking business was about winning. I had it backwards. Business should be about not letting anyone lose their health, their safety, their future.
What will you do when you're released?
Marcus has been visiting. We're going to start a non-profit law firm. Environmental justice for communities that can't afford legal representation. We'll use our business knowledge to fight people like we used to be.
And Sophia?
Her documentary about our family's crimes premiered last week. She's become the journalist she always wanted to be. Fearless, honest, protective of people who can't protect themselves.
I'm proud of all three of you. You're the people I hoped you'd become when you were children.
We're the people you taught us to be, Mom. It just took us losing everything to remember those lessons.
Alex. You look different. Lighter somehow.
Prison taught me that guilt weighs more than any chains. When you stop carrying shame and start carrying responsibility, everything changes.
The Environmental Justice Clinic approved our application. We'll be representing 12 communities affected by corporate pollution.
My documentary won the Investigative Journalism Award. But more importantly, it's changing environmental protection laws in 6 states.
I received a letter yesterday from Maria Santos. Her daughter's cancer is in remission, and the medical fund we established is covering all her treatments.
Mom, do you ever miss the mansion? The money? The life we had before?
I miss your father, the man I thought he was. But I don't miss living a lie. I don't miss wondering which of our neighbors' children were getting sick from our factories.
We were rich in money but poor in character. Now it's the opposite.
Rich in character, poor in money. But not poor in what matters. We have each other's respect now. We never had that before.
When your father died, I thought my job was to protect the inheritance he left you. I was wrong. My job was to protect the integrity he almost stole from you.
What do you mean?
A mother's silent sacrifice isn't keeping quiet about her family's crimes. It's finding the courage to speak loudly about them. It's choosing your children's character over their comfort. Their souls over their bank accounts.
You sacrificed our wealth to save our integrity.
And it was the right choice. We can rebuild money. But we couldn't have rebuilt our souls if we'd stayed silent.
I lost my husband to his greed, my fortune to his crimes, and my old life to his lies. But I found my children's respect, my own integrity, and a family bond that money could never buy. That's what a mother's true sacrifice looks like.
We're not the Hartwell dynasty anymore.
No. We're something better. We're a family that chose truth over comfort, justice over wealth, and integrity over inheritance. We're living proof that it's never too late to become the people we should have been all along.